Hey folks, how you doing? This is Lenny Fairfield. I am an independent solar planner, and you're getting this video as a prelude to an upcoming appointment that you may have made or discovery call of some kind. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over kind of the presentation that I normally would go over. It'll save us some time when we go over your specific presentation. This presentation helps me kind of convey information, just let you know how solar works and what the goals are. Different subjects on solar that I think you will find interesting. I'm also going to try and tag down below so you can skip ahead, skip behind, see if you know a lot about solar already, you don't want to watch it all. That's okay. But for those of you who don't know a lot about solar, especially if you've been in a solar appointment with another solar rep, I would highly recommend you watch this whole video because this is going to show you the truth, no matter what, the whole truth, and we're going to make sure that we do everything right. So anyways, once we get started, we're going to take a look at your house, make sure that it's right for solar. You need southern exposure for solar panels, just so you know. We want to make sure that you have as much southern exposure as possible. It doesn't have to be dead south, but as long as you have some southern exposure, in most states, you're generally doing well. When we get on with you, we're going to ask you some questions. My main thing is what's gotten you into solar? What's gotten you thinking about it? What's got you looking at it from a technology standpoint? How much do you know technologically? How much do you want to know about the technology? Please have that kind of answer talked about and ready, because sometimes I have engineers and they want to know everything. Sometimes I have people who aren't engineers and they just want the facts and just the simple stuff. So let me know so I can give you the appropriate information that you would require. This is me, like I said, Lenny Fairfield. I do have an MBA from the East Carolina University. I'm a financial planner, investment manager, basically a private wealth manager for 17 years, had my own practice and sold it. Now I'm doing this full time. My main reason for doing it is because of my time as a wealth manager. I'd realized that I'd spend all this time helping people save for retirement, and then when they go to retire, all their bills have doubled. So I wanted to do something that would actually, kind of give them a helping hand with that, make sure that they understand that not just their electric bill, but all their bills are going to double. I also coached high school baseball for 150 years. If you've ever been around teenage boys, you understand that joke. Did a few of these, hundreds of installs actually. These are just a few. I am currently based in North Carolina at the coast, but I've been in Raleigh. I'm originally from California. So, got experience doing projects in just about every state that there is. I've done every state. So anyways, these are just a few. I'm a ground mount expert. It's one of the things that I do. Also have batteries, but ground mounts are my specialty. Roof mounts. This one's on a golf course. Anyways, all up and down the coast of North Carolina. I've done Florida, Texas, Maryland, Pennsylvania. I don't know why I started listing them. Texas, California, because there's too many of them. Anyways, here's the three things that I kind of want you to get out of this presentation. One, solar's not free. Okay, no matter how many ads you see on the internet or with fools saying that it's free, I'm hoping to rid the industry of those people, because it's not free. But it also doesn't cost you anything. And that's the reason they try and use the word free. How it works, just nutshell version. There's a cost to solar, the cost of the panels, but it's covered 30% by the tax credit, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then the other 70% is usually covered by the amount you're not going to send to the power company anymore. A great example of that would be your house, the house you're living in right now. You could have rented that same house forever, right? Instead of buying it, you could have paid rent every month, and maybe once a year, the landlord would increase your rates, just like the power company does. Solar works the same way. Instead of paying all those rent payments, you pulled all those forward in the form of a mortgage, assumably, and you bought your house. Think about the reasons you did that: control, wealth building, gaining equity. Those are all things that are happening with solar, and I'm going to explain what I mean by that. The second thing is inflation is going to double your power bill. It's just a matter of fact. Well, if you've been around long enough, power bills have doubled. The way inflation is currently, most likely your power bill is going to double in the next 10 years, pretty much anywhere in the United States. Easy way to tell, kind of give yourself an estimate is the rule of 72. If you just divide the number 72 by what you think the rate increases are going to be every year, that'll give you the number of years it takes to double. So 72, if they increase rates by 6% per year, 72 divided by 6 is 12. That means your power bill, if it's $200 today, in 12 years, it's going to be 400. Okay. That's a very important concept, because when you look at solar, you're looking at a multiple decade proposition. Solar panels now last, minimum of 25 years. Typically, the lifespan is 30 to 40 years. So you want to make sure that you at least look at the next 10 years when your bill is most likely going to be double what it is today. And to pay for solar, we're literally taking something that you're already paying. So it's not a new loan. It's not new money that you're paying. You literally already have a forever loan with the power company currently. We're taking at least part of that money and turning it around from an expense, getting solar and turning it into an asset that actually pays you back. Okay. So it's a great concept. It's why I do it. This graph right here is great. This is the current path you're on now. Okay. It's just going to go up every year. You're literally throwing your money away every month. With solar, you're taking ownership of at least part of your bill. A lot of times we're between 50 and 80% of your bill. Sometimes we can get 100 depending on the state. But for the most part, 50 to 80% is the sweet spot. We're going to, however you do that, a lot of people finance that. And when you finance it, you literally lock in your rates. One of our local companies just announced a 20% increase in rates over the next 3 years in Connecticut. Gosh, they had a 100% increase in the cost that they pay for electricity in one night, like literally overnight. So this locks in that rate for solar, whatever we're able to cover with solar. So it's a great concept. It's why I do it. And I enjoy it. So a few things we're going to talk about is like why solar, why now, and why Power being the company, the platform that's behind me and my team's companies. Why solar? A lot of people love it for the green energy, and green is great. It's a bonus for me because I like the other kind of green. I like to look at the financial side because that's my background. Gives you control of your energy costs. It does add value to your house. I actually have a lot of evidence to back that up. And as a matter of fact, Fannie Mae just recently came out with some guidance for appraisers. So no matter where you are in the next 2 years, right now it's 2023, the next 2 years, for sure it's going to add value to your house. You just need to make sure that you have a realtor who understands how to use it and make sure appraisers understand. And that's some of the education that we're doing right now. Obviously, it makes a difference in the world. We have the federal tax credit, but if you're in a state, other states actually have what we call SRECs, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. But there's also state incentives and other things. South Carolina has a state tax credit. Virginia has SRECs. Anyways, pretty much anywhere you go, there's some kind of incentive that we'll talk about during your presentation when we get to your house. Real quick, how solar works. This is the technical aspect. I'm going to get a little bit technical here. Basically, we put panels on your roof, and those panels collect electricity in the format of DC format, direct current. Okay, your house can't use those. Can't use those kilowatt hours that it collects. So the electricity gets converted over by an inverter over to AC electricity, and then gets sent straight into your main panel, which you then use for your house. Okay, much like your meter from the power company currently does. The goal in most cases is to overproduce during the day when the sun's out. When you do that, you're going to create credits in kilowatt hours, and you're going to send that back to the power company. You've heard the term meter spinning backwards. Okay, it's not technically how it works now, but it's kind of the same concept. The power company generally comes out and changes the meter into something that they can measure how much you're sending to them, and they credit your account. Solar panels don't work at night. So when the sun goes down, the panels stop working, you start drawing back from the grid. And when you do that, you're drawing your credits that you've accumulated first. Okay. The term for that is called net metering. That's one of the things that makes solar so beneficial. Even if you don't have a one-to-one net metering situation, that's where batteries come into play. And I'll tell you, that's one thing I like to cover during this is that with just solar alone, if the grid goes down, solar panels don't continue to work. Okay, that's a thing that people don't know about. You have a power plant on your roof, and if that's still operating and when the grid's down and sending electricity back to the lines, you could kill alignment, and we don't want that. Those people are heroes. So just to be clear, solar does not work without a battery option when the power goes down. Now, batteries are not standard that on every system. We don't put them on every system. In most cases, they're not required. So then it becomes a balance of, okay, how much it costs to get a battery versus how much it's going to give me in electricity if power goes down. That's a very personal conversation. So we'll talk about that during your proposal presentation. Utility bill, thank you for sending your utility bill. Most likely, if you're seeing this, you've already sent your utility bill in and we're already working on your design to find out how many panels you're going to need to cover your historical usage. The unit of measure that we use is kilowatt hours, and generally the price per kilowatt hour is anywhere from 12 cents to 40 cents per kilowatt hour if you're in California. So that's what we measure it by, and that's the cost we're trying to lock in whenever we go solar. So just keep that in mind. That chart is really important to us. This is an actual customer. I like to show people that solar actually does work because there are companies out there that have not done it right and it doesn't work right. With us, we make sure it works. You can see here on this client's actual bill, you can see exactly on this graph where the solar went in and her usage literally went to zero. If you can see that, it's real small. She used zero electricity from the power company this month. She does have a $10 fee on there for some light or something she's leasing, but so her bill's about $17 total. You're always going to get a bill from the power company. There are a few companies that actually will use your usage that you create to erase the fees that they charge. So you'll always have a fee. It's another reason why we don't always try and get 100% off your power bill, because in a lot of places you're still going to get a bill for fees. So we're going to give you what's best for you. This is another client, same thing. You can see exactly where the solar panels went in, and the green is not me. The power company actually put that on there because they're saving electricity. This person probably had a $300 a month bill, and now their bill is probably less than $50 a month. You can see they went from 2,000 hours to 36 hours. So they're very happy. It's a very large system. Why now? There's a few reasons. One being the solar tax credit. So I want to talk briefly about that. Just to be clear, the tax credit is 30% of the cost of the system, but it's not a magic check that just shows up. Okay, it's not a rebate check. Just to be clear, you actually have to owe taxes in order to utilize the tax credit. Now, there are creative ways that I know about that if you think you don't pay taxes, I can probably help you understand how to make it work. It's not a requirement to use a tax credit. There are ways around that we can get creative with, especially with financing. But just to give you an example, let's say you work the whole year and you have $10,000 come out of your checks, your income. Okay. At the end of the year, you do your taxes, and let's say you get a $1,000 refund. A lot of people mistakenly believe that they don't pay taxes, a little they say that, because they got to get a refund every year. But if you do the math, you gave them $10,000 and they gave you back $1,000. That means you paid $9,000 in taxes. Okay. This tax credit, if you had $9,000 tax credit, would have erased the other $9,000 and you would have got all $10,000 back in that scenario. Okay. So it's not a rebate, it's a credit. So the credit is not refundable. So you can't get more back than you owe in taxes. And whether or not you get money back really depends on how much you put in. So this is something that's kind of personal to you. You're going to need to check your situation to see if it works for you. We'll talk more about it again during your presentation, but that's just a general overview. Here's another reason, which is, sorry if it's off the screen a little bit, but this is Duke, one of our companies that we deal with, Duke Energy. They actually just announced a basically 20% increase, 17% increase over the next 3 years. So that's another reason why we're doing it. They just had an 8% increase in September of last year. So power rates are going up. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing this. Let's see if I can get this down on one screen here. Probably not. That's okay. So real quick, it's also going to add value to your house. Sorry, you can't see this, but over here, basically, there was a study done by UC Berkeley and this other institute that determined that it adds about 4 to 6% to the value of your house by going solar. Now, if you're in California, Texas, Florida, it's already happening. Places like North Carolina, South Carolina, they're a little bit slower to come on board, but Zillow did do a study as well. They came up with 4.1%. And I want to show you this. This is kind of new. Fannie Mae came out with some, through the Appraisal Institute, actually, is where I got this information. How to add solar, the value of solar to an appraisal. Okay, this was just recently came out. It's guidance by Fannie Mae, so it's coming. Even if where you're at right now, maybe it doesn't add value to your house directly, it is going to in the very near future. And it makes sense. If your power bill 10 years from now is going to be $400 a month, but we could make it $50, there's value there. Okay. So SREX is something mainly for people in states like Virginia. Okay, Virginia, Maryland. I don't want to really say states because a lot of the northern states have it. I don't want to say the names because they change all the time, whether or not they have them or not. But SREX, this is actual statement from a customer. Literally, this is money that's going into his account. So he's got a solar payment that he's got going on out one side, but he's got these payments going in the other side. SREX, just the easy version, is that for every 1,000 kilowatt hours you produce, or for every megawatt, you get one SREC. Okay, think of it as a stock, because then you're going to turn around and take that stock, that SREC, and sell it on the market. Okay, SRECs are a complicated thing to explain, but just that's the easiest way to do it, is think of it as every time you do 1,000 kilowatt hours, you get the stock that you get to sell. Okay, it's actually a penalty that's been placed on the power companies by the state governments. In some of the states, I don't see them going away anytime soon, like the next 10 to 15 years. So they're a great option. They're really something that a lot of people don't know about, especially in the state of Virginia. I've noticed not many people know about them. So this is a way to actually get paid to go solar. If you're in the Carolinas, we're probably never going to see these, because Duke Energy and the other companies, they keep up with their mandates that have been put in place. So why Power? So Power is the company that's a platform that's behind myself and whoever you're talking to. We're the basically number 43 on the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies in 2022. We were number 61 on that same list in 2021. The reason we're the fastest growing solar company, essentially residential, around, is because we've taken the whole industry and turned it upside down. So just to give you an example, I don't work for a solar installer. Okay, they technically work for me. And when they work for me, they work for you. So it's a completely different scenario. If you're talking to any other solar companies, you're talking to a representative of that installer. They don't have options. They're being told what to tell you. It's okay. This has worked for a long time. This is a new concept, platform technology. So Power, the company, is based out of San Diego, and but we're nationwide. Independent people like myself who understand solar get together with homeowners, and we find out what's best for you from a multitude of different options. I have multiple solar panels to choose from, multiple inverters, multiple batteries, and over 100 different options for financing. So, we have choices, and we're going to go over those during your presentation. Power, in the meantime, is partnering with product partners or equipment manufacturers to get the best possible prices. At the making of this video, Power is a $300 million a year company, but has no debt. So they pay cash for all their equipment, which is phenomenal. You as a customer will see the savings from that. Typically, if we're not the lowest cost system, that's probably a red flag, but we're always going to be close to the lowest cost system to the customer. And then on the other side of the equation, the other side of the platform, we have the best installers. Notice I'm not saying subcontractors, because it's not that. That's a bad way to explain it. Power is the general contractor. And they do subcontract, but they don't subcontract individuals. They subcontract to vetted installers who are experts in solar, who have already done tons of installs for us and are outstanding. And these companies are typically local to your community. So they know your inspectors, they know the rules that are involved in getting the solar on your roof. And it actually brings revenue and jobs back to your area. So it's a phenomenal platform. It's new, it's different. That's not like anything else out there. So I'm very proud of Power as a company. Another thing I'm proud of Power for is this. With every project that you get from me, you have a 30-year warranty. Okay. A 30-year warranty basically covers everything mechanical in the system. But on top of that, it also covers roof penetration. So whenever we do solar, we go into the rafters to make sure that they don't go anywhere. And that is a very strong system. At the making of this video, I've done hundreds of projects. I've never had a roof leak. But here's the thing. 28 years from now, if there's a roof leak because of the solar installation, Power is going to cover it. We're going to come out and fix it. No deductible, nothing out of pocket, nothing like that at all. We're going to take care of it. And then I want to point out this 24/7 active monitoring, because it's right around the corner. Eventually, you'll have an app on your phone where you'll be able to see everything that's going on in your system at all times, what every panel is doing, what the battery situation is, how much is in it. But eventually power is going to get notifications. If one of your panels, let's say panel number 12 is not operating efficiently, they're going to get a notification and they're going to contact you. So it's active monitoring. Okay, we're not there yet, but it's very close to being there. So that's just an exciting thing. It's something for 30 years, we don't have to worry about it. Now, I will mention that the batteries aren't included in this warranty. They have their own warranty. Typically, it's 10 years currently for pretty much every battery in the industry. And the panels themselves have warranties, and the inverters have warranties. To give you an example of a warranty on a panel, most of the panels have 25-year production warranties now. No more of this, they're only going to last 12 years kind of thing. Okay, they're going to last 25 plus, anywhere from 80 to 92% of the original efficiency after 25 years is what the warranties are, depending on the panel. So phenomenal stuff. Always like to point out reviews. This is a review from one of my customers. He's happy because I like it because he called me the quarterback of the process. Just know that anybody, myself or my team that's involved in your project, we're going to be on top of it. Like Power is the project manager. They assign us a project manager, but really we're your project managers because we're going to be taking care of every step of the way, even after install. That warranty I just told you about. You're going to have an app on your phone that tells you who to contact in case of a need. You can also contact us. Okay, we can get people to jump pretty quickly. So at the end of the day, once we get through this proposal that we're going to show you, once you get done with this video and we get on the Zoom or the in-person appointment, you have two options. One is to stay with what you're doing now. Okay, currently you're renting your electricity. That's the easiest way to put it. From a wealth generating standpoint, you're taking something and just writing a check, throwing it away, just like renting a house. The rates are unpredictable. You have to deal with inflation and rate increases. That does not add any value to your house. You have to deal with blackouts, sometimes rolling blackouts that are scheduled. Zero return on investment. ROI means return on investment. There is no return on investment because you're literally renting your power right now. Income reducing, I'll talk about that in a minute because that's an interesting one. With solar, we're taking a portion of your bill. Let's say it's 80%, let's say 50%, just to keep the math easy. That 50%, you own that 50% using money that you're already sending to the power company. It's not new money. It does give you own it, so it gives you a return on that investment. Instead of just sending that money out every month and not getting a return, you're actually getting a return on it now. We always offer zero out-of-pocket options, which we'll go over in great detail during your presentation. Long-term savings, sometimes upwards of 6 figures, okay? You do have control and predictability. Reliability is another thing you'll have if you have a battery option. It does add value to your house and it's income producing. Two ways to look at that. One, the SREC I was telling you about a little while ago, okay, that actually literally produces income. But also I think about the people in Connecticut who woke up on January 1st and their power bills were almost double what they were the day before, okay? If they were on a fixed income, they just literally lost income. So by going solar, that protects you from that increasing income. So that's what I mean by producing income. Once you decide to go forward after we do this presentation and you like it, once you decide to go forward, this is kind of the process that we go through. Get everything signed off on and approved. Power will do a welcome call, verify everything's correct. And then we'll do a site survey. A lot of times, we'll have a professional site surveyor come out. Sometimes it's the installer. A lot of times it's myself or my partners, my teammates. It could also be you. So, if there's no battery and it's not a ground mount, you could actually do your site survey using our app. But once we get those pictures back, we'd send it to design. Design creates an AutoCAD version of the plans, and that's what we send to you for approval. Typically, 2 days or so later, we're going to send that off to permitting. That's where we don't have any control over that. Depends on the county office and how backed up they are, how quickly those come back. Sometimes they ask for additional information and we get it to them. But once we get permits, be careful this 4 to 6 weeks. It doesn't take 4 to 6 weeks to install. It actually takes 1 day in most cases, sometimes less than a day. So occasionally it'll take 2 days to install. It just kind of depends on the size of the system and some of the details there, electrical. The 4 to 6 weeks is once we get permits back, it may take like currently today is taking us 1 to 2 weeks. But it could take some time to get that scheduled depending on how backed up and busy we are. But once you get installed, a lot of times when we install, we leave it we don't always do everything to completion because some inspectors like to come out and see it at different stages. So don't be alarmed if you see that it's not quite put together, because it's never turned on until the inspection is done. Once the inspection is done and they put their stamp of approval on, we send it off to your power company, and they give you what's called PTO, or permission to operate. That can take, anywhere from 1 week, sometimes the next day, 1 week to 6 weeks, depending on the power company. They're not going to be excited about you going solar, so sometimes they don't rush. We do request that though fairly early in the process. It's called interconnection agreement. But then once you're turned on, then you'll be able to look at your app, see everything that's going on. Between the installation and the power on, the app doesn't work, just so you know. It doesn't finalize until it's actually approved. So just keep that in mind. With that said, now it's kind of time to look at your proposal and your specific situation. Everybody's house is different direction, different usage, a lot of different things to go over. So we appreciate if you have not made an appointment with us, please go make an appointment with us now. If you have an appointment with us, please keep that appointment. We're very busy, and we'd love to be able to put this in front of you. By watching this video, we just cut out 30 minutes of the presentation. So we appreciate you watching it. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can go anytime to lennyfairfield.com and schedule a time to see me. And actually, you go to lennyfairfield.com and it'll show you how to contact me. Text me, call me, get on my schedule. Anything you need is on that website, Lenny Fairfield right here.com. So I'm glad you watched this. I appreciate your time. If there's anything we can do to help, please let us know. Otherwise, I will see you at your appointment. All right. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.